Last week I tried Hal Elrod's Miracle Morning. The book is partly a biography and partly a practical guide to the morning routine that he's created, and it consists of the elements silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribbling, or the acronym S.A.V.E.R.S. I'll start with an overview of the elements and then talk about my experience with the routine and share my thoughts along the way. To start the day with reducing stress levels and having a calm and peaceful mind that will allow you to stay focused throughout the day, then begin the morning with a period of purposeful silence, which is the first element in the Miracle Morning. What generally applies to the S.A.V.E.R.S is the flexibility to adapt the element to whatever fits your preference. So in the silence section, I chose guided meditation, but the book proposes praying, deep breathing, or reflections as alternatives. So number 2 is affirmations. So the purpose of this written affirmation is to program your mind with attitudes and habits to make you become successful. They must clearly articulate exactly what your best life should look like, and then it's reality. You get the idea. So as a part of the Miracle Morning, these affirmations will be read through every morning. So step 3 is visualization. They can be used to familiarize yourself with a situation you have never been in, or to rehearse something physical without actually going through it. In practice, it could be like daydreaming your perfect life, or your perfect situation, or a perfect outcome. Hal mentions Jim Carrey, who in the beginning of his career, he wrote a check for himself of $10 million with a note, Thanksgiving 1995. He then visualized it for years. Right before Thanksgiving 1995, he got a check for $10 million for a role he did. And then it's time for exercise. Exercise is any bodily activity. I guess you're familiar with this one. But yeah, exercise is a great way to start the day. Number 5 is reading. And who doesn't want to have time to read more? This is a good way of just scheduling the time for reading if you don't feel like you have it. Keep learning. S.A.V.E.R.S. S is for scribbling. That's for journaling. The purposes of journaling mentioned in the book is gaining clarity, capturing ideas, review lessons, and acknowledging your progress. As mentioned, this is also flexible. I chose to do the 5-minute journal, as I've also introduced in my Team Ferriss morning routine. I would definitely try different sorts and change every now and then when I'm following this routine. It's day 1 of the Miracle Morning. I'm aiming for 10 minutes on each element, so that'll be S.A.V.E.R.S 60 minutes in total. I'm still working on finishing my affirmations right now, and these will and should be improved and developed as you go along, as you find other areas you want to improve in, or to specify what you already have written down. Yeah, and I gave myself the permission to make a coffee in between. Page 135, we're good to go on the coffee. I appreciate the flexibility, Hal. S.A.V.E.R.S. In the visualization, I experienced that my mind was drifting off, much like in meditation. That it's difficult to stay focused on what you intended to visualize. But then again, that is not necessarily a bad thing. How often do you sit down purposefully to think? I never do. So day 1 was sort of a test day. I didn't really feel the mindful effects of the visualization and the affirmations, so that'll have to wait as you progress and as you get more into the routine. So for day 2 and 3, 10 minutes for the affirmations and the visualization felt like a long time. So my affirmations weren't really thought through enough the first days, so I just ran through them without having the connection that I was looking for. But now I've been working on them. I've created some headlines that I've filled out in the different areas of my life that I would like to improve. So I have health, finance, mindset, YouTube, my why, and what I need to do. So that's the base for my affirmations going forward. Already after the first day of changing it, it feels more motivating. And it actually does something. So to craft your perfect affirmations would take some time. And also with visualization, my thoughts just ran away, just like when I was meditating. I usually think of visualization in the context of a sporting event, concert, or public speaking or something like that. And I've done the same for my own visualization. So that's why I've created more specific visualizing points that are tied up to my affirmations. Day 4, I decided putting exercise at the end of the routine because it feels more natural having all the writing, reading and thinking together and ending it with a bang. And the time I spent on each element in the start was 10 minutes each. But from here on I switched it to 10 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of affirmations, 5 minutes visualization, journaling for 5 minutes, read for as long as I wanted, and then go and exercise for however long I would like to. Day 5, I realized I need more time with the Miracle Morning just to get into it. The really good thing about it is that it's so open for customization. You can make it however it fits your own life and what your preferences are. But it also takes more time to get into as you're crafting your own Miracle Morning for the first week, maybe more, even more than that. So even on day 4 and 5, I reformulated and edited and worked on my affirmations especially, and also the visualization. I'm making a weekly habit of training with a friend at 5:30 in the morning, and that makes me appreciate the flexibility of the S.A.V.E.R.S. There's actually something called a 6-minute S.A.V.E.R.S. where you spend 1 minute on each element. But for those really busy ones, 6 minutes is really something anyone can scratch together to keep the momentum and not skip a day. So takeaway from this day, depending on your schedule, be flexible and don't restrict the duration. Just adapt it to your day and how you feel and how much time you have. I went to bed late yesterday and I had to wake up early, so I tried to use some principles from the book where Elrod says that your belief as to how many hours you get to sleep each night is just as important as the actual hours you get. So let's say that you have 5 hours of sleep. You're supposed to give yourself affirmations and say that 5 hours is sufficient and I'll be fine tomorrow morning. And that's supposed to make you more energized. And it's important to note that this is something he does to feel more energized. And it's not something that science says that it's the right thing to do when it comes to sleeping in general. I wouldn't use it as a way of sleeping less on a long-term basis, but if you're in the situation that you're not going to get too many hours, then yeah, why not try? Why not stay positive about it? So on day 7, while I was reading my affirmations, I noticed something interesting. So in the thing I had in my affirmations, I had written, I believe might be attainable. But on day 7, I had to change it for something more certain. So I changed it to is highly attainable. So I guess that's the power of the affirmations. So I got more confident just by reading through it and thinking about it every day for this week. And it can actually evolve inside your mind. That was a bit mind-opening. I thought it was too many elements and too much conscious effort went into going through and getting through it all. But I will say that that's likely because of the duration of this experiment. And if you tried it for a longer time, it most likely would be different. I actually got a copy of the book 5 years ago and went through 30 days of the Miracle Morning. And I can see in my journal entries from that time that I got a lot out of it. So give it more time if you try to do this yourself. As I've already said 46 times in the video, the flexibility is a key part of the routine. And it makes it more enjoyable and more doable. So for this routine in the long term, I would do like Tim Ferriss does in his routines, that he's okay with completing 2 or 3 of the elements and not all 6. So it's more likely that you're gonna succeed each morning. And I would of course prioritize the most valuable elements. And for me in this experiment, it for sure was the affirmations. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. And